Hello, you beautiful people. Another episode of Computer Science for Everyone. And today we're going to talk about something very important and fundamental. No matter what programming language, no matter what kind of applications you're going to create, you will be engaged with this concept all the time. And that is array. Let us start and talk about it. Let me give you an example to make the whole things more clear. When you create a variable, remember, when you in Python or any other programming language, you write age equal by 23 or something. What you do actually is asking the operating system to give you a memory slot within the memory bank. Memory bank is like a storage. You can think of a big, huge physical storage, and then computer will go to this storage and search around to find empty slot, and then tell you, okay, you do have access to this slot. So if you have something you want to put it here, and this is a code or has a name. And next time when you want to preserve it and return it back, so just go and get it within that name. That's how variable works when you write age equal by 23 and then you return to that slot or change the value. Perfect. This is really good. This is very useful. But what if you are facing with a scenario that you need more than one memory slots? So you can create multiple variables, no problem with that. But what if you need a lot? For example, let's say you're building an application that needs some gamification or it's a game and you need to store everybody's scores. For example, maybe there are students, maybe are gamers, maybe there's some kind of scenario that you need to keep everybody's score in your memory. So what you can do, let's say there are 10 players. One way is to create 10 variables, 10 different variables, asking computer to give you 10 places in the memory storage and then store those scores. Let me show you in coding. So look at here. I created like 3-4 variables here, but you can make it more than that. A score on the line 0 equal by this value. A score on the line 1 equal by 2,300. Score under not a score. A score on the line 2 is 3,200. The score on the line 3 and this. And I can continue this forever. And that's the problem actually. If I have 100 users, I can't just keep writing score on the line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 until 100. Not gonna work. Then just be very messy and difficult to do that. What if I could ask computer an operating system, rather than give me access to one slot in this memory storage, give me a bunch of them, a batch of them, or a block of them. In that case, I can choose one name for that memory block, which contains, let's say, 10 slots. And then whenever I want to have access to any of them, I'll just say which one by indexing. Let me show you this picture. So look at this picture. This is what I'm talking about. What if it's possible that computer, rather than give me one variable, give me a block of variable, all these slots, memory cells, and then I call all of them scores. And then when I want to refer to one of them individually to one of them, I use indexing. Look at this. 0 means the first element. 1 is the second element. 2 is here. 3, 4, 5, 6. If I could do such a kind of things, rather than I keep creating variable by myself, I just create one-time variable. But this variable is different. It's not only one element. It contains 10 elements, and indexing starts from 0. It's not a surprise that indexing starts from 0, right? So this is called array. So basically, array is a block of memory, which led you to contain multiple values and access to each and every one of them. This structure that is more than one thing has a name. Look at the definition. Data structure, any facility that holds more than one item of data is known as a data structure. So that's really interesting, right? Because array basically is a data structures because you can have a kind of access to multiple values. We do have many different data structures in computer, but array is really simple and important. I will show you in coding a little bit later how we can define an array and solve these kind of issues. But there's one more thing about the array. We call array homogeneous structure. Homogeneous structure, what means by that? It means that array contains elements that their data type is the same. For example, you can create an array of integer numbers. That's all. You can create an array of floating point numbers. You can create an array of string items, but you can create an array that has integer and a string and floating point numbers. The reason for that is the way that we store arrays in the computers, in the memory storage. If you want to think of that big storage, it looks like empty slot next to each other's, remember, next to each other's, and they have same size. And then you're going to use them for the same kind of products to put in that storage. Imagine you have such a kind of structures in your storage, the biggest storage. So it's not like a kind of in one rack, you keep different boxes or different items, all same size boxes, and all the containment, the value within those boxes is same. This is how we preserve the array. This produce super fast access to array. And that's why nothing can beat array in memory when it comes to optimization and the speed. But sometimes we need different things. Sometimes we need to be able to hold multiple items in one container, like a kind of array. And that one has a name, list. List is non-homogeneous structure, which is very similar to array in terms of usage, but actually deep down there are a lot of differences between these two data structures. List let you to keep multiple data items in your containers. It's not like an array, it should be the same. But of course it comes with this trade-off that speed will decrease. But there are a lot of advantages. We use every one of them for different cases. So this is very important that you remember about the array, that they contain same data type elements. So that's what the array, they make them super fast. That's why we love them. And list is so flexible. It contains multiple elements. You can remove, you can add, insert everywhere. And the cost of doing this stuff is really low. But when it comes to some mathematical processing, array is the best. And no one can do anything for that. So now let's go for codings and create some array. Different programming languages, they have different perspective to the array. For example, Python technically doesn't have an array. It has list. But some languages like Java, like C, like C#, like C++, they come with that array facility that you can define an array. You can do that in Python, but it's a little bit advanced. But by default, it's like a list. But I will use Python to give you the sense of the list, because when you use them, there's no different in terms of the using when you look at it outside, some sense. So now let's go to the coding environment again. The coding is add. Okay. So what I'm going to do in Python is very simple. For example, let's say I'm going to write a scores. I'll use a square bracket, and I will put my scores like this: 1,230. Then comma. I'll separate with the comma. Another one. This one 900 maybe. 3,000. We have a good player here, and 2,500. We have a weak player 100. So look at that, and I have a list of 6 numbers. This is a list, or you can think of it as an array of 6 elements. And how we can have access to them. So let's say print one of them. We can write the scores, then you write a square bracket, and here you're going to put the index. This index is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's go for 5, for example. When I run the code, you will see that the 100 is printed here. So that's how I can get access to one of the elements, by the index. Let's try other index. Let's say go for 0. We write it now 1,230. You see, that's what I have. And I can do mathematical operation around them. For example, I can say times 2, because they are like a variable. You see, you got it twice number. They are just like variable. You can even change their values. For example, I can come down here and I write a score. This, I want to make it like a kind of equal by 100. Let's say I make it 100. So when I run that, you see that I got 200. So it means the value is not anymore 1,230. It's really cool. You can get access to them like a variable. You can change them. You can add together. So you can, for example, add a score 0 plus, you're going to write plus a score 1, something like that. Sorry, scores, not a score. It scores. So then scores 0 plus score 1, scores 1, and then you can print it out. And then also you can do many more operational around the array. But again, remember that in Python, this is actually list. It means that if I come here and I write down something, hello, nothing goes wrong. Okay, that's because it's list. But if it was an array in some other programming languages like C or C# or C++ or Java, you definitely get an error. Those type-dependent languages, they're going to tell you that no way you can't do such a kind of things. But you can define array, and you can define also list. In Python, there are some library like NumPy that they design for a better performance, and they let you to create some kind of array-like data structures with those benefit of the array. So this was about data structure and array. And Elise, and I hope you enjoyed. We will continue by talking about function and procedures in next video. Try to think of the array, try to play around a little bit with your code editor, and if you have any question, share with me. Have a good day and happy coding.